Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel and welcome to a some assemblage required video, which means I'm going to be using some products from MK's shop over at someassemblagerequired.com. This is also a Woodgrain Winter video and a mixed media Mayhem video, and we are scrap lifting Moira O'Reilly today. Pardon me. I looked at her layout. It's so beautiful, and I totally am taking the diagonal design from it, and it looks like she's done some texture paste through a stencil to get those stars. At least that's what I believe she did. So I am going to use a stencil and I am going to use some texture paste through it once I get a little bit of stamping done. I am using a stamp from, I believe it's All in Create, and the stamp is number 371. I don't know what, it doesn't seem to have another name. Oh, maybe it's Deep Focus. Anyway, I'll try to remember to put the link down below. I did get this from MK's shop. I don't know if she has any left over in the store or not, but I will put a link down below if she does. Otherwise, I will just put a link to the product on the the website from All in Create. So it is a beautiful stamp. It's got actually several different stamps in the set, but I am taking this one that looks like music notes, and it has a 25 on it, which made me think of Christmas, so that's why I decided to go ahead and use it. And a large portion of my stamping is going to get covered up, which is totally fine. That's pretty normal with mixed media. And then I'm also using this little tiny stamp from Prima. I believe it's a Finnabair stamp, and it's just like a grid of some sort, like a ledger, basically a little tiny ledger. And then I am also using a little bit of Dylusions Black Marble, and I'm sprinkling that across diagonally. I apologize, my voice sounds funny. I've got a bit of a cold, and so that's been a bit of a challenge. I am using some Snowdrop White paper glaze through this stencil that has pine boughs on it, pine needles, not pine boughs. It's just the needles. And so I'm doing it in white so that it's very subtle. I don't want it to be in your face or anything like that. There's already a lot of really beautiful background on this particular piece of paper, so I don't want to detract from that. I just want to add to it. So going simple is what I decided to do, and that in hopes that I would not mess up this paper. So a little bit more of that black splatter just to kind of bring the diagonal more, to make it more prominent. And then I'm using more of this Christmas Spectacular collection from 49 and Market. I'm going to use some of the holly, some of the poinsettias, and some of the pine sprigs, and I'm just tucking those in, and these came together pretty quick for the most part. It did take a little while for the mixed media to dry, but the paper glaze dries relatively quickly, and it's not on really thick because those pine sprigs are very small areas. So it's not like you're putting on a lot of texture paste in one spot. So it does dry relatively quickly. And so then I decided I'm going to go ahead and keep looking through this Christmas Spectacular. I don't have a ton of this collection. I have the paper, and I have the Ultimate Page Kit and the embellishment clusters. And then I do also have some of the ephemera, but pretty much everything that I'm using is out of either the Ultimate Page Kit or the ephemera cluster, or the embellishment clusters, pardon me, except for the piece of paper. That is from the actual collection. So I know I want to use a title on here from the rub-ons, which I also have. So I'm using this title that is just Holly Jolly, but I don't know where I want to put it, and I think it's going to go over some of the laser cut elements that come with the cluster kit or the page kit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub that onto this piece of a laminator sheet. That's what it is. It's a laminator sheet, and you can kind of see that it has a little bit of blue on the laminator sheet. I'm just kind of actually ignoring that. And I chose a spot that didn't have much of that. It was a test piece of laminate pouch that I had put some embossing powder in to see what would happen. And so you can see the blue is actually what the embossing powder left behind. But I am just going to go ahead and use it as it is. And I'm cutting around the title enough that you don't really actually even see the blue very much. So with a mixed media background, I'm not too worried about it. If it was a stark white background, I might be a little bit more concerned, and I probably would have got a new one out, or I would have used a piece of acetate. But in this case, this worked out just fine. And then I just kind of fussy cut around it a little bit. And now I am able to use it right over the top of the embellishments that I have layered up there without making it look like it's disjointed. Because if I were to rub it on to the embellishments, anytime there's a break from one embellishment to the other, it's not going to look cohesive. It's going to kind of like, I guess, crack apart would be the best way to describe it. Anyway, so I really like that technique. It's not my own technique. I learned it from Memory Keep Art, who has awesome videos as well. And you can check her out on YouTube also. But that is where I got this technique from. So it's not my technique. I don't know where she got it from, but she's the first person I saw do it. So anyway, I also pulled out a little, it looks like a book plate. And so I'm tucking that under my photo. And to tell you a little bit about the photos, that is actually me in 1978, I believe. And I am looking at our family nativity scene. I have these two photos, and I just thought they were really cute and precious. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but you know, when you look back at your own photos and they're really little and stuff, they're just really cute, and it's a memory I definitely wanted to have in my album, and so that is why I decided to go ahead and use these. And I think they're really beautiful with this particular design, or these the greenery and the foliage that I am using. I am going to add some wood veneer at the very end. It does kind of look like an afterthought. It wasn't really an afterthought. I was just waiting for it to arrive. I knew exactly what piece I was after. I was just waiting for it to arrive and get here so that I could add it to the page. But I also unintentionally kind of glued down those candy canes in the upper right hand corner. So I'm going to have to kind of pull those off to get my wood veneer tucked in where I want it, but all of the other pieces go down fine. I just really should have thought about it ahead of time and not glued them directly down. I should have popped them up onto some foam, but it all works out fine, and it's not a big problem. But I thought I would just make mention of that. I know it looks like an afterthought, but it's definitely not. So what I am doing here is I'm just adding a little bit of foam, because that Viewmaster reel is actually chipboard, and so it's adding a bit of dimension. And so I want to make sure my photos are supported really well and they don't get bent in my album when other pages push against it, since there is a gap underneath them a bit because of the chipboard. I am also going to take the title there, and I'm going to tuck it under a little bit underneath the photos, because right now you can kind of see a little bit of the not transparency laminator sheet over the bottom of that bottom photo, and so I want to tuck that under a little bit, and so it's not showing. And I am using some Zotz Bling or glue dots. I use them interchangeably. That looks like it's, well, see, I'm using them interchangeably. The one in my hand currently is the glue dots. The one on the roll is Zotz Bling, and there just happen to be both kind of like stuck in the same package together at this point. So whatever one is on sale is the one that I tend to buy. No need to pay more if you don't have to. Okay, so now I have pulled out some of these little holly berries. Pardon me. And I am just going to tuck those in a couple of little spots here. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to those. And again, I know that you can't see a lot of the stamping work, but you can definitely see it in the upper right hand corner peeking out. You can see it in the bottom left. You just can't see that middle one very well, and that's totally okay. I don't really mind at all. I do like the addition of that dark color, or the black. And I ended up just using my black archival ink from Ranger to stamp those on there, which is great because it's a permanent ink, and when I add anything over the top, it's not going to pick that ink up. In this case, I really only added the texture paste, but sometimes I add watercolor and such, and I definitely don't want the black to run. So that is like the ink that I tend to go with the most. I am also adding some sequins from Spiegel Mom Scraps. These are hummingbird, and these have been in my stash for quite a while now. Just using the red ones to kind of dot around, kind of like the holly berries, and just to add a little bit of added sparkle to this layout. And I really like the way that that ends up looking also. It just adds a little bit of extra oomph to it, a little texture and a little sparkle, and I think it's really pretty and blends really well with the holly berries. I'm trying not to get too many on there and go overboard. In this case, I just wanted a few in each of the areas, and I think they look great. This pack does have a larger red sequin and a smaller one. I am using the smaller ones. I'm just writing the year on here. I'm not writing anything else. There's not really a whole lot to say except that it's our family nativity scene. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my wood veneer, which has a masking over the top of it. So I definitely need to pull that masking off. I don't make you sit through watching me take all of it off, but you can, sometimes you can pull it off with your fingernails. Sometimes I use my tweezers, and other times I use, you can use Gorilla Tape or duct tape or something like that and put it over the top and kind of burnish it with your finger and then pull it off, and the masking will come off. And then that masking just protects the wood from scorching, and so you'll get a nicer, more of a, you won't have variation in your wood. Basically, there won't be any of these the darker lines that you're seeing on some of these other ones. Hopefully that made sense. So going to tuck in a couple of the pieces, and then this larger piece I am just going to put it to the side of my photo, but I used my Fisker's blade there to cut the backing on it. So there is an adhesive backing on all of the wood pieces that you get from MK's shop. And I don't want the adhesive actually on the photo because these are original photos. I still, I've gotten a couple of suggestions on things to try for duplicating them, but I haven't had the opportunity to do that. In fact, actually this video was filmed before I got the suggestions. So I need to go and play around with scanning these, but they have a texture on these photos, and the light from the scanner gets picked up in the texture, so they don't scan great. But anyway, I don't want my adhesive over the top, so I'm being cautious to only put the adhesive on the other part of the photo, or on of the layout, so that if someday in the future I need to go back and pull these off, I can. I also don't want that adhesive to touch the photo to degrade it at all, so I'm leaving the paper backer on it in hopes that that kind of protects it a bit. I will leave the links for the stuff from MK's shop down below for you. The wood veneer is only a 1/16 of an inch thick, so it's really thin and doesn't add a lot of bulk, but it adds a lot of texture, and it's so pretty, you guys. So I highly recommend it. That is pretty much it. If you have questions or comments, you can leave those down below. I do encourage you to go and check out everyone else playing along with Woodgrain Winter. There's a playlist link down below. There is also a Facebook group for Mixed Media Mayhem. It's called Mixed Media Mayhem Scrapbooking. So go and check that out, and you'll get lots of inspiration. And you will also see in the albums all of the things that are coming up, and you can play along with us. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll be back again soon with another video. Bye-bye.